Hey Dragon Slayers, it's been about an hour since my last meal, 106. So my last meal was 2 pork chops. I had a little Nutella biscuit thing, about this big, about that thick. And then I had a a flavored water that had zero sugar in it. It was artificial, but zero sugar. So today's video is all about popular fasting protocols. So let's start with Leangains, as popularized by former bodybuilder Martin Berkhan, is by far the most popular method for fasting intermittently. This form of fasting consists of skipping breakfast every morning and pushing the first meal of the day to lunch. Basically, you skip breakfast and then you eat a normal lunch and dinner in an 8-hour window. The idea is to fast for 16 hours overnight, plus the first 6 hours of your day. Then eat all of your calories in an 8-hour window. For example, let's say you get up at 6 a.m., you would skip breakfast and eat nothing for 6 hours, and then lunch at noon, and then dinner at 8 p.m. Snacking inside your eating window is allowed, although we will say that generally speaking, you want to try to consolidate calories into larger meals rather than snacking. This 16-8 split of 16 hours fasting and 8 hours eating is recommended every single day. If you had one day off from this protocol and followed the other 6 days of the week, that would amount to an additional 4 hours of fasting per day compared to the standard 12-12 split that we're assuming is baseline. So 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating. 4 hours per day, 6 times 6 days per week equals about 24 hours of total additional fasting per week. 4 hours fasting per day, 6 times a week, the math there, 24 extra hours fasting. The warrior diet, as popularized by Ori Hofmekler, consists of fasting during the majority of the day and eating all of your calories in the evening. The goal is to skip breakfast and lunch, then eat a huge dinner in a 4-hour window at the end of the day. This is a 20 and 4-hour split. So 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of eating. That's your eating window, is 4 hours. This method of fasting does allow you to eat a very large, very satisfying meal at the end of the day, and might be perfect for someone who is going out to dinner to eat in a social setting. There are a ton of calories and food might be involved. Fasting this long during the day is more difficult, but does lead to deeper levels of fat adaptation and low insulin, which helps improve insulin sensitivity. If one followed this protocol roughly every other day, let's say 3 days a week, that would equate to 8 hours of fasting compared to the 12-12 baseline of the standard diet. 3 days per week also equals about 24 hours of additional fasting per week. 8 hours fasting times 3 days per week, 24 hours. There's also the eat, stop, eat method, as popularized by bodybuilder Brad Filon. This involves fasting for an entire 24 hours, 2 days per week. So let's say you eat your last meal of the day around 8 p.m. the day before. You would fast overnight and then all the following day, you're going to skip breakfast and lunch, and then by pushing dinner out to 8 p.m. for a full 24 hours of no calories. This is quite difficult and is only recommended 2 days per week, non-consecutively. While this is quite difficult for some people, by the end of the 24 hours, you do reach a very deep level of lipolysis and fat oxidation with very low insulin levels, and this is quite desirable. Many people think that the following day they will binge on so much food that the benefits of fasting on the previous day will have been negated. But this is not true. Studies have repeatedly shown that persons will only overeat by hundreds of calories the next day, but still not come anywhere close to eating as much as they would have by eating normally both days. So in other words, you are still left with a large net caloric deficit even after eating more food the day after you fast. Each day that you fast in this fashion adds 12 hours of fasting compared to the standard 12-12 split that we're calling baseline. And the 2 days per week of this, again, equals about 24 hours of additional fasting. 12 hours of fasting times 2 days per week equals an additional 24 hours of fasting every week. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can support me in the description below on my Patreon. I updated it to reflect my new official name and title. So yeah, don't forget guys that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.